Hey everybody, what's up? I'm just checking the minutes here before I have to recharge this. Sorry about that. Um, but yeah, I'm here to review Mega Man Worlds Unite Battles. Well, the first of two Worlds Unite Battle books. This one, of course, being the Mega Man version. And what the World Unite Battle books are, and as you can see, this is what it looks like. It's a fold-around cover, and I'm pretty sure that you can tell that when you get the next one, it's going to connect, so it'll be like one big poster. But basically, what these are is they showcase the battles that take place, sort of off-screen, if you will, but in more detail. It's sort of in that category. I mean, it's like with how do I put this? It shows the battle between Mega Man. It's basically divided up into about, I think, three stories. Three separate stories is what it's divided into, I believe. Let me see. Let me check here. Yeah, three battles as it's called. So, these three battles basically take place they take place sort of like in between situations. They take place at the beginning, like Mega Man's battle. His battle with three members of the Deadly Six is the first battle in the book, and that takes place basically off screen. We somewhat see it in the first part of Worlds Unite, which is Universe issue 76. But then we don't see any more after that. You know, we don't see any more after that. All we know is he gets ambushed. Well, actually, all we see is that I think he gets ready to be ambushed, and then that's about it. And basically, what this does, what Worlds Unite Battle number 1 does, is it showcases that battle, that confrontation that Mega Man and the Deadly Six have. Now, the Deadly Six have basically, Mega Man is handling his own with the Deadly Six in the story, and it looks like the Deadly Six though is getting their upper hand. And just when it looks like they finally have him down for the count, he tries to fight back again, because comedically, I guess in a sense, he doesn't want Roll to be he doesn't want Roll to basically say she told him so, when she said, hey, maybe one of us should go with you because of all the things that have gone on recently. So, he's basically kind of motivated a little bit to do. He's basically motivated to do a comeback because of the fact that he doesn't want Roll, his sister, to basically say, I told you so, I told you we should have gone with you, and da-da-da. But in the end, basically it's too much for him, and he ends up being defeated and dragged into the Genesis portal to the the Sigma's lab at the Lost Hex. And that's how we end the first battle. And the way they end them is they kind of like at the end of each story, battle story. At the end of each battle story, they basically say who the winner is, and they say the winner of the first battle, Deadly Six, or three members of the Deadly Six. Then the next one that we get is X in the Maverick Hunters versus Vile. Now, Vile is basically the kind of, I guess you could say, a little bit of the equivalent of, it's basically the equivalent of, let's say, Metal Sonic. It's like no matter how many times you beat him, destroy him, whatever, he just will not stay down. He will just keep coming back and back and back. So they keep fighting this guy, trying to get, because he's basically one of the last defenses of getting into Sigma's lab. So you have, I think it's Zero, I believe. Let me check here. I think it's, hold on for a sec. I think it's, oh yeah, it's Zero and Axel that are fighting off File. And they're fighting them off. Axel's trying to, I guess they're basically fighting Vile off, and he's proving to be tougher than, even for the two of them. So they keep fighting him off. Axel uses, I guess, his chameleon-like powers to disguise himself as one of Vile's allies or soldiers to try to get close to him to shoot him, but that doesn't work. So basically, they're trying their best to get they're trying their best to get past him, to get into the fortress, into Sigma's fortress, but it's not working until finally Silver arrives and basically evens the odds. Silver basically arrives on the scene, and let's see here. Silver arrives on the scene. He arrives on the scene because basically he's detected a Genesis portal in the vicinity. Basically, the Genesis portal that Sigma used to escape at the beginning of Universe 76, Worlds Unite Part 1. So he detects that. He helps them keep Vile at bay just long enough to get in, just long enough for Zero to get in there and find X and ask X exactly what happened with Sigma, and he says basically for X to tell him that Sigma escaped through some kind of purple portal or something like that, dimensional portal. And the way X explains it basically makes Zero wonder if it's the Genesis portal, one of the Genesis portals that Silver talked about. So we end the issue with basically the Maverick Hunters, along with an assist from Silver, being declared the winners, and Zero telling X to come with him because he wants him to meet Silver, because Silver might have the information he needs, or he might be interested in. Now the third battle, of course, is a battle that we saw sort of take place on and off screen in Worlds Unite Part 2, I believe. Or Worlds Unite Part 3, I should say. And that is the battle between Sonic in his Sonic Man form against the Robot Masters. And basically, it's a entire spread page and basically it's just a couple of pages of Sonic Man beating the heck out of the Robot Masters, and Eggman and Wily watching from the Lost Hex headquarters. Because you got to remember, at this time, the original plan was for Sonic Man and Mega Eggman, which is Mega Man's roboticized master form, to go back to the Lost Hex, fight each other there, revert, and then attack Sigma, so they can gain control of the power that Sigma wants. So basically, that's what the third and final story is. It's basically Sonic in his Sonic Man form beating the living heck out of the Robot Masters. So that's basically what it is. So what Worlds Unite is, though, for Worlds Unite Battles, so basically overall, that's what Worlds Unite Battles is. It's basically showcasing the battles and the fights and even the interactions that take place sort of off-panel, off-screen, off-issue, if you will, between all the characters. Which is why when anybody read Sonic Boom, I think, what was it, number 8, I believe? Number 8, which was Worlds Unite Part 2. They were kind of confused probably by what X meant, or not X, but what Axel and Zero meant when they told X about the coordinates that Silver gave them. And then a little caption that mentioned the encounter with Silver, which you could see in Worlds Unite Battles. So overall, that's basically what Worlds Unite Battles is. Worlds Unite Battles is basically it's just an extended version of the battles that, like I say, take place off panel, off screen, off issue, throughout the stories. Think of it basically like when you get a movie, when you go and see a movie at the theaters, and then all of a sudden about 4 or 5 months, maybe less, maybe 3 to 5 months later, that movie comes out on Blu-ray and DVD, and you're given a version that has an extended cut. Basically, it has scenes that weren't in the movie being added back in. I'll give you an example. X-Men Days of Futures Past has the Rogue cut coming. Basically, now we don't know if this is going to be Blu-ray or DVD or what, but Days of Future Past is coming again, and it's going to include the deleted Rogue cut. So basically, it's going to be sort of like an extended edition of what the original movie was. Sort of like the Lord of the Ring movies and the Hobbit movies. We see the theatrical versions in the theaters, but most times when they come out to Blu-ray and DVD, we get not just the theatrical versions, but we get extended uncut versions. And basically that's sort of what the Worlds Unite Battle books are. They're basically that extension of Worlds Unite. In a sense, it's basically like if Ian Flynn wanted to, or any of the writers wanted to, they could have added all these battles and sequences into the books and made them even longer, but they didn't want to. Well, it's not that they didn't want to, but it's more along the lines of, unless it's an anniversary issue, or maybe even the final issue or whatever or something, you're recommended to do about 25 to 32 pages a book. I think that's about the equivalent. But that is basically, again, what Worlds Unite Battles is. Like I said, it's sort of like an extended edition of what Worlds Unite overall is. Like I said, you take a look at a movie you go and see in the theaters, and then all of a sudden, when it comes out to Blu-ray and DVD, you get a theatrical and an extended version. Probably both at the same time on the same disc or two separate discs. Who knows? But you get that. It's sort of like, it's sort of like with the animes that get brought over. You take a look at Yu-Gi-Oh!, Sonic X, and even Dragon Ball, and there's a lot of stuff cut out that when you finally get to see the uncut versions, not only do you get a longer version of that episode with the stuff that was taken out put back in, but you basically get the idea of what I'm talking about. You basically get to see the whole story. You're not left confused going like, oh, what was that supposed to be? Or what was that? Or who was that? Or da. You're not so totally confused or left in the dark because you got to see the whole picture finally. You got to experience the whole thing uncut and extended. And like I said, that's what Worlds Unite Battles is. Now, I will say that the only issue I do have with Worlds Unite Battles is the same kind of issue I had when the Iron Dominion arc was extended into Sonic Universe with a 4-part extension of their own Journey to the East. The problem I have with it is the timing. Yeah, that's the problem I have with it. Because I would have preferred this to come out around the time the first issue of Worlds Unite was released, which would have been Sonic Universe 77. I would have preferred it around that time, not around the time of the 4th part of Worlds Unite, which was the 50th issue of Mega Man. Not around that part, not around that time, or the release of issue 77, which is part 5 of Worlds Unite, and that's issue 77 of Sonic Universe. I would have preferred it right at the beginning because that way we're all caught up to date and we're seeing what's going on. Or at least give us, well, probably not around issue 1, but preferably between issue 1 and maybe issue 3. Preferably around those areas. Because I think if you would have put it out between maybe, let's say, issue 2 and 3, it would have made more sense. Or at least, well, basically put it out between issue 1 and 3. It would have made more sense, if you will. Because now it's basically like you're backlogging. It's like, you know, people will look at the battle books and be like, well, why do I have to read that? You know, I've already read most of the story. Again, think of it as being that, you know, director's cut version think of it as that part of the film that got left out but now it's being put back in. I know that sounds a little confusing, but that's basically what they are. But again, like I said, my problem with it is the timing. It would have been better, and I'm sure anybody watching this will agree with me, it would have been better and more preferable if they would have released it between maybe issues 1 and 3, and maybe more preferably 2 and 3, because that's where a lot of the battles take place, especially with Sonic and the Robot Masters. But like I said, it would have been better if you would have just done it between 1 and 3. That's all I would say. Maybe 1 and 2 at the most. So, but again, that's the only issue I have with it, because it's like you're backing up and having to, because basically you're reading this and you've already read most of the story. It's like, what sense does it really make? Except you get more of an extension of the fights and all that. Again, like I said, the only issue I have with it is the timing. If they, like, I know I sound like a broken record, and I apologize for that, but like I said, if they would have released it between issue 1 and 2, or maybe 2 and 3, it would have made more sense. Preferably, maybe, if you take a look at it from a more realistic standpoint, they could have released it between the releases of part 1 and 2 of Worlds Unite, because that's mostly where a lot of the stuff takes place, and takes place afterwards. So I think it would have been more preferable to release it between the first 2 parts of Worlds Unite. And again, to me, that's one of the reasons, in my opinion, why I think they're taking some books like Mega Man, putting it on hiatus for the time being, and so they could focus on really getting all the priorities straight behind the scenes as well as story-wise for the comics. So, but again, that's just my opinion. But the point is, Worlds Unite Battles is, you got to think of it as basically being the extended version of Worlds Unite as a whole. Basically, think of it as being that extended version of a movie that you only saw the theatrical version of in theaters. Now all of a sudden you're getting an extended version, if not uncut version, on Blu-ray and on its Blu-ray and DVD release. If not, think of it as that anime that when it comes over from Japan gets butchered, but all of a sudden now you're getting a chance, thanks to maybe some distributor here in the US that likes to release uncut anime, you're finally getting the chance to see the anime the way it was meant to be seen. Or something like that. But overall, I will say this, I'll give it credit. It does at least give us an idea of what happens with the battles involving Mega Man and the Deadly Six, the battle between the Mavericks and Violet with the encounter with Silver, as well as the fight between Sonic's roboticized master version, and the Robot Masters. I'll give it that it does give us that. It does give us more of an extension and detailed look at that instead of just glimpsing over it or glossing over it. But again, like I said, my only problem is the timing. That's all I'm going to say. So I do recommend picking it up if you want to get the full story. If not, I think as Ian Flynn put it, it's not really recommendable reading. But if you want to get the full, unfiltered, uncut version of this whole entire crossover, I recommend picking that up. As well as next month, I recommend picking up Sonic's Worlds Unite Battles #2. So that's all I'm going to say, folks, on it. Let me know what you think down below. Comment if you like, and I am out.